This is Automate Yourself, where automation is your biggest career opportunity in the age of AI. I'm your host, Dina Levitan. Today's guest is Danielle LaFleur, entrepreneur and AI operations leader who took her 22-person marketing agency and completely reimagined it. By digging into her team's individual values, strengths, and natural gifts, Danielle realized that they were all working in the wrong seats. So she rebuilt the company as EasyAsPie.ai, a 4-person AI operations team where everyone is doing work that aligns with who they are. In this conversation, we explore how cleaning up the boring operational stuff is the fastest path to giving people the time and freedom to do meaningful work. Let's go. Welcome to Automate Yourself, Danielle LaFleur, entrepreneur and AI operations leader. Your company, EasyAsPie.ai, helps other companies streamline their business operations with automation. What I love about what you're doing is that you're not just optimizing for efficiency, you're actually using automation as a jumping off point to help clients discover their deeper purpose. So let's start there with who you are and what you're really trying to do.
That's a great opener. Who am I? So what are we really trying to do? How we got here was when I was talking with our team, we really deep dive and wanted to discover what were our key values, not simply around work, but who we were individually and what skill sets that we could bring to the company and how we wanted to create the business together. And so while I had worked with these people for a very, very long time, we had really never dug deep. We brought in experts. We brought in human design people. Not only what can we do for our team and how can we work together as a team, but like who were we outside of work and what were those values that we wanted? And when we came up with our 3 values and we figured out what everybody's natural skill set was, whether they were trained in it or not, that's when the company really came together and we realized how important operations were that fit all of those skills, either individually between specific people or as a team. And so when it comes to me specifically, I'm very 10th in my team. I am definitely the creative. I am the talker. I am the one throwing walls and seeing what sticks. And the majority of my is really logical. They go deep into R&D. They're very process driven. What we're trying to do is allow other companies to have that opportunity to really allow their people to thrive and do what they've been called to do. And when we experience that, we realize the power of it, and we want other companies to have that experience.
And so you started realizing that adding in automation and focusing in on operations was allowing you that extra space to think more deeply.
Yep.
I'm curious to hear, how did your team decide what to do once they automated away that operational busy work?
I think what happened is we realized that one of the things that we love to do is free up resources and time for people to have time to really spend and do the work that's needed to be done to become the best version of themselves. And we also realized that companies are bogged down with woulda, coulda, shouldas. So many of those, so many details, so many things that could be automated with AI. We all love AI on our team, and we have been using AI probably since 2018 or 18 or so, but we never really promoted it. We just used it internally. But what we discovered is when we cleaned up operations, not only is that the fastest way to increase your profit margins, it also accelerates time. And time is the real, like, that's the non-negotiable that you really have. And it's the fastest way that we can make an impact on a business. And it's the fastest way a business can make an impact for their clients. And so there's this great circular thing that happens out of that. So when we decided to do operations, I was very, very lucky to have somebody on our team, Jenny, who is an operation guru. She just has that Boston consultancy kind of brain, right? One of the first ones that brought to our attention that we need to fix these things. And if we can do that, we can replicate that for our clients, and drastically so.
It's great to have people on the team with different skill sets who are all contributing with their unique gifts. And I think that in many ways, incorporating AI for the work that isn't necessarily tied or aligned with our gifts is a great opportunity for us to do more of what makes us shine.
Cannot agree more. Chris is our software developer, like he's head of development, and it took me 2 years to get him on board. So anti-AI in the very beginning, right? He was just, I'm not having this. And when he started utilizing it and started working, it was like, oh my gosh, this is the most amazing thing I've ever used in my entire life. And then we're like, here's operations. He's like, I understand this. I know how to build around this. And it was just those little moments that just kept happening over and over and over again that really showcased that we're not tied to that job title, but we're tied to what our natural gifts are. and how easily they are transformable when we're given the right tools and technology to be able to amplify that.
You shared something when we spoke last that a nail salon owner's real purpose isn't necessarily owning a nail salon. It's
Yeah.
making people feel good about themselves and helping them show up nicely. And just in the same way, the customer service rep's job isn't just answering phones, it's helping people feel heard. So that's a really different way of looking at work. And I'd love to hear more about that thinking and how it connects to this moment we're experiencing.
It's so important. I really challenge a lot of people to think about this, especially if you're in that mode of like, I'm going to my job. And there's a possibility of all of us losing a job. That's always been around. You're probably not born to say like, I can't wait to be a low level customer support person to get on the phone and have people yell at me. Like, that's not what you've been called to do. There's aspects of that job that you're really good at to give space for people to express, to release that energy and then re-regulate their nervous system so you can help them go to the next phase of their life, achieve the goal, solve the problem, etc. There's portions of that job that is actually your talent, your skill, that is not the job title. If we really take the time to understand who we are and what we've been blessed with and what we can give, it's mind-blowing to me. It's absolutely mind-blowing to me. And that's why I know it sounds weird that we go into operations because it's so boring, but it's the boring stuff, bringing up the boring stuff that allows us this ability to do that.
I think for me, I've been reckoning with that personally. Job titles aren't necessarily going to be the same going forward. So what is the right way for me to identify when I think about, okay, here's the work that I do, here's the value that I bring. And so I think for a lot of people, the scary thing isn't going to be necessarily, oh, AI is taking my job. It's more, oh, what am I going to do if I'm not a software engineer or if I'm not a product manager? What am I aside from my job title?
Yeah. And we've been so conditioned to identify, especially in Western society, as our title, right? As our job title. We've been so conditioned into that point. You bring up an excellent idea around that. Not saying like I work in marketing or I work in operations or I work in this. We are more than our job. I think it's really important to understand that. And when you have to separate those two things out, I get a little scared, to be honest, because you're decoupling yourself. And that's why we have such angst and frustration. There's just so much more joy that happens when you are aligned.
Totally. And I think that it might be easy for someone, if I automate myself out of a job, then I'll lose my identity anchor. Like I'll kind of be floating freely, like what will I do? But I think that what we're trying to communicate is maybe we're automating away some of the tasks that we're doing, but we are a person with an identity outside of that job necessarily.
Yeah. I think I love the idea of automating yourself out of a job, because if you automate yourself out of a job, that's when your creation happens. That is when the wholest version of you comes forward and can give and receive in beautiful, magical space. When you are constantly doing this and we go home and we're frustrated, it's not fueling you. That's not what we're supposed to be here doing. Like, that is not our purpose. Automate yourself out of a job, in my understanding, is literally to free yourself to become the best of who you are and really get creative juices going, really maximize the talents. If I said creative juices to my software engineer, he'd be like, I'm not creative. And I'm like, that's baloney. I have seen the things that you create and how excited you get about all the software that you build on your off time as a reward for getting a project done. It's not painting on an easel, but it is a creation process, right? And so he's not really getting himself out of a job. It's literally allowing him to create the life that he wants and do the things that he wants.
And human beings have this really deep need to create and to contribute to the lives of those around them. And I think that here we have an opportunity with this automation to allow everyone to ask, what am I wanting to contribute outside of what my job title says? And like, who am I underneath all those labels?
Yeah, I so agree with that. And there is a beautiful reward that happens internally when you are allowed to be the fullest version of yourself and creative, right? And I want people to have that space to do that. We have a mantra in our company. We refuse to work for any company that will use our services to fire people. If you're looking to scrap 50% of your workforce by streamlining your operations, we're not here to do that. We're here to free up your people to be able to give more and to receive more, and be happy and joyful and have a good life.
Completely agree. And something that spoke to me when we connected recently was about we've been in survival mode for so long. And so automation provides this opportunity. Instead of focusing on survival, we have the opportunity to ask questions that we haven't had the luxury to ask before
Yeah.
in the evolution of humankind. So now it's kind of this more purpose driven, like, what am I hoping to do? How am I hoping to grow? What am I hoping to learn? And really grappling with that. So I'd love
Yeah.
to hear about how you're thinking about the difference between survival focus versus the growth focus.
We have been in survival mode, I'm going to say, for 10,000 plus years. And it is scary to move out of that mode. It's like it's scary to move out of victim mode and take radical responsibility. Really challenging to do. And we are in that challenging time right now. I truly believe there's an opportunity now to make that change, to make that decision that I am no longer going to be surviving. And I'm going to learn how I was destined to be on this earth and destined to create. So having that conversation and simply saying, as an individual, I don't want to be in survival anymore. And before, it was a mindset shift and a mindset change, and then a lot of other things that you had to work on. Now we have tools to make this go so much better and so much easier and so much faster. Every single person that makes that stance and says, I'm not going to be in survival anymore, is another person that allows us to create a society, a global environment. We literally have tools, and the next generation tools that are coming down, as you look at quantum physics, like as soon as quantum computing really comes into effect, it's a game changer. I think AI is a game changer. Quantum computing is a whole other game changer. And that's coming down the road faster than we kind of expected. And we're going to have so much opportunity to really not live in survival anymore. And I'm so excited for the future. I am so excited for Gen Alpha because they are the ones born into the opportunity to not live in survival fully. We are still in this transition, millennials and so forth, but discovering your purpose, and you don't have to survive to live, just taking that away is the most amazing experience. I don't think that struggle is going away. I don't think that hardship is going away. I want to make sure that this is not a utopia that I'm saying. But what I am saying is that you don't have to be in survival if you choose not to. And having tools and support to help you with that, I mean, come on. It's so exciting. I love that. And I want everyone to feel that way, in that hope, in that joy, settle in that space. It's unbelievable how much better life can be when you start embodying that.
And I think for me, that the first time I really started experiencing that was when I went into entrepreneurship and became more the owner of my time. I love the idea of allowing others to experience that and
Yeah.
that struggling growth, as you mentioned.
Yeah. It's not to say no to survivalship. Just like saying no to victimhood can be very hard. Like I mean, I'm sorry, you're going to cry. You're going to like want to
There's a
eat all the
process
ice cream,
to go through.
but it's not as hard as where you currently are. It just feels like it's harder because you've been in a space that you're comfortable with. But when you start utilizing it through that, night and day difference, and utilize that within your business to allow your entire company to move in that direction, what a gift.
Mhm. So say someone is listening to our conversation right now and they're still feeling worried, a little bit panicked about AI. They're thinking, oh, my job's going to go. What would you tell them? And it's not just about you should learn this skill or that
Yeah.
skill, but what would you advise that person?
For me, my enlightened moment was the Clifton strengths. I took the Clifton strengths, and that wasn't a tie to things that I knew, but that was tied to what I'm actually really good at. So some of the things I'm really good at is futurism, like seeing the dots in the future. I am really, really, really bad at the past. Really don't care about the history. I'm always about now and moving forward. So that's one of my gifts. So finding those things that are natural to you, those aren't skills. That's just naturally how you think and process information. Other things that I love, strategy, I love communication. So learning what those are is going to be the most important thing because those are transferable to so many different things. What's really going to be needed as we move forward is not the skills, but the ability to understand who you are and hear and listen and understand who others are, see them for where they are, who they are, and be able to communicate back and forth and share information. And again, have that space. Communication skills are going to be so important When you really focus on becoming the best version of who you are and your gifts and what you naturally love, when you start amplifying that, it just amplifies more and more and more. And there's always opportunities that happen because of that. And you'd probably be surprised. Like, I never thought I would be running an operations company in my entire life. Never. You're going to find your people too. You're going to find your work. You're going to find your job that really aligns with that.
Totally. And I think that you mentioned communication, but also self-awareness. So knowing what your strengths are, knowing what you're bringing to the table, and that doesn't necessarily need to be a structured assessment, but just reflecting on here's the projects I enjoyed, here's the projects in my career that I like to do, and also here's the things outside of my job that really brought me joy. Something that I've personally noticed is that as I've continued on my entrepreneurial journey, elements and threads from different part of my life start to be reflected. And I think that that's something that more and more people, I hope, will have the opportunity to do, is to bring their skills from one arena into the new arena they're working in.
I think we're going to be surprised on how that happens more and more. Those little connections in our brain are going to light up. And you're absolutely right. Just digging deep and spend time writing that down. What did you like? What don't you like? And really dig into it. Was it because you had time alone to work on it? Was it because you got to work with the team? Was it because there's certain members of the team and not because of who they are, but what were the characteristics of that person that you really enjoyed? Was it the environment that you enjoyed? Was it the timetable that you enjoyed? Did you like the pressure of making sure that you could wait until the last minute? Did you like to plan everything out? Like, there's so many details that happen when you take that time to really dig into it. I mean, spend some time on this, spend some real time digging in.
Yeah. And having somebody to help in that process can also be really valuable to reflect back,
Yeah.
what you're saying and what you're communicating to get to that
Yeah.
understanding of what you're
Have
looking.
you ever read the book Start With Why?
Yeah, I love that.
I remember when I went through that course with Simon, one of the things is find somebody that you respect that is not your best friend or family member, because they're going to tell you what you want to hear. Getting feedback from others that see you for who you are, the good and the bad, they're going to see things that you might not see about yourself. And it's such an eye-opening moment.
Would you like to share about something that you're building or working right now that you're excited about?
That's a good question. One of the things we're discovering is we really want to give the opportunity for small businesses, solopreneurs, and they can't seem to break 250 or 500,000. We create a blueprint for them to understand, here's all of your opportunities. And then we take the key opportunity that we're really going to create the most instant success for them, either in time saving, ROI, whatever it is. And Chris will build out an automation and streamline that for you to take that pressure off so you can immediately get an ROI on that as fast as possible. But we're really excited about that, because if we can get more people to break that 250 to 500 market, that is a game changer for family. Like, so we were trying to figure out, like, what could we do that would be really quick and easy and also have an incredible ROI for them. We're having
Amazing. Well, where can people find you online?
Okay, so I'm going to say a couple places you can find me. EasyAsPie.ai is the website, EasyAsPie.ai on TikTok. I am also on LinkedIn. Go ahead and hit follow or connect or DM.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join us on that conversation. Really enjoyed hearing all your projects and your outlook. I think that's the things that I really resonate with from our discussion today, how you're looking at the future as an opportunity instead of with fear.
Yeah, thank you so much. Look, too, I love this whole. I'm just such a big fan. You have the best, and I'm so thankful. Thank you so much for having me.
Danielle said something today that I keep thinking about. We've been in survival mode for thousands of years, and now we have tools that can help us move past it. Danielle and her team at EasyAsPie.ai are living proof that when you align your work with your natural gifts instead of a job title, everything opens up. You can find Danielle at EasyAsPie.ai, connect with her on LinkedIn, follow her on TikTok, or check out her Substack. If you like this episode, subscribe on YouTube or follow on your favorite podcast app so more people can discover Automate Yourself. I'm Dina Levitan, and thank you for listening to Automate Yourself.